Hi, everybody. It's Leslie with the New Mexico Small Business Development Center, and I want to welcome you to today's webinar. We are excited to have Dr. Marvin Lozano, who's going to speaking to us about accessing money from banks, alternative lenders, and SBA for your small business. And what's exciting is that he is going to be doing it in English and Spanish for anyone that needs those services. Also, if you have any questions, please type it into the Q&A and he will, I will get him to answer those questions. He's very good at it, either during the presentation or at the end. I'd also like to remind everyone that the New Mexico Small Business Development Center is strongly encouraging all New Mexico small businesses to learn about cybersecurity risks and make sure they are taking actions to protect their data, especially from ransomware. We have 2 cybersecurity webinars that we're offering this month. One is going to be next week, and there's still time to register. Registration deadlines close 24 hours before the webinar, so you still have time. The cybersecurity webinar is going to be top 10 mistakes hackers want you to make. Then the following week, we have another cybersecurity webinar. This is going to be cybersecurity, a basic guide for your small business. So please take advantage of our no-cost confidential counseling. And I will turn it over to Dr. Lozano.
Good morning, everyone who's in attendance. We are happy to have you participating. I know I certainly am, and I hope to share some, let's just say, some technical and some aspects that you should be aware of as a small business person that will help you access funding for funds for your small business. So I'll say this in Spanish also. Bienvenidos ustedes que están participando en este, bueno, esta clase, ¿no? Esta mañana para ayudarles con formas de conseguir dinero de los bancos, de los prestamistas alternativos y del SBA que les ayude. Okay, so there you go. This is the beginning. I'll do this in English and in Spanish, and that way we can make sure that we are being inclusive with this workshop and reaching out with this information, okay? Next. When we were looking at this workshop, we wanted to make sure that it provided a good overview of what small businesses need to access funding. This is always a common issue with small businesses that need funding, but in today's COVID pandemic, let's say temporary, hopefully temporary climate that we're in, right? It's important that you be aware of what you need to do to get the help you need. En español es que quiero decirles a todos que esto clase lo formamos para tenerles un poco de información de cómo pueden conseguir los fondos que necesitan para ayudarle a su negocio pequeño, porque hoy día con COVID es difícil, ¿no? Operar, y si tienen ustedes asistencia, siempre hay, ¿cómo voy a conseguir esa asistencia? ¿Cómo trabaja el sistema? ¿Cómo puedo conseguir dinero de los bancos, del SBA? Entonces, aquí tratamos de ayudarles un poquito, ¿no? Next. What you see on the slide is an effort to be, again, inclusive by presenting this in Spanish and in English. So you see the title or the headings, if you will, in Spanish, bolded, and below them in English, so that you can follow regardless of what language you have a preference for, and we're not leaving you out, okay? So in Spanish, I'll say, esta presentación es para decirles que pueden conseguir más ayuda con las oficinas del SBDC que están localizadas en todo el estado. Hay nada más de buscar en el internet, ¿no? Cómo conseguir, tienen números de teléfono y le pueden decir dónde están los domicilios, ¿no? Estos objetivos son para ayudarles a ustedes, pequeños, cómo pueden al acceso a dinero de los bancos, prestamistas alternativas y el SBA. Es información general, ¿no? So what I'm saying in Spanish is this is our vision is to give you an overview. It certainly isn't to give you all the information, but it's to make you aware of where you can get the information. And certainly today, it is a training, but there are many other trainings. Certainly there's counseling assistance through all of the offices SBDC has throughout the state of New Mexico and other states, should you be traveling, to get assistance on understanding how you can access funding and many, many other things. Okay, so the title is Accessing Money from Banks, Alternative Lenders, and SBA for your small business, whether it's a startup or whether it's an existing business. And the focus is on surviving COVID-19 and going forward, okay? Next. Bueno, yo voy a presentar, yo soy el doctor Lozano, tengo más de 25 años en diferentes temas, ¿no? Experiencia en haciendo préstamos. Yo trabajé con un grande banco comercial tratando de hacer créditos con pequeños negocios bastante grandes. Entonces yo entiendo cómo trabaja el sistema para conseguir esos fondos. Le voy a tratar de ayudar con un poco de información. También fui profesor con un colegio aquí en Nuevo México, el más grande en todo el estado, por muchos, muchos años. Y yo fui encargado de entrenamiento de negocios, empezándolos y creciéndolos. ¿Ok? Y ahora soy consultor independiente que le ayuda a negocios en todo el estado de Nuevo México. ¿Ok? Okay, next. Okay, so the objectives are simply to give you an overview of this topic, this subject. In Spanish es para darles poca información de entrenamiento, son los objetivos, ¿no? Next. So in Spanish and then in English, okay? You can see it in both languages, but briefly, I'll go to Spanish. En español son tres temas de que quiero hablar. Número uno es acceso al capital. Número dos es la sostenibilidad del negocio, el crecimiento, la resiliencia. Y tres es solicitar recursos financieros. Okay? So what I was saying in Spanish is there's three topics. I wanted to make this relevant and useful for you. So this workshop is broken into three areas. One is, of course, accessing capital. This is very important because regardless of how much money is out there, and we hear daily, I think, or weekly, that there's a lot of money that's out there because of COVID, the banks, the SBA all have available. But if you don't know how to access it and you don't understand the criteria necessary that they look for, you're at a disadvantage. I'm going to try to give you some information that will help you access what you need. The second theme is business sustainability, growth, and resilience. Because the idea here is not only to get your money, but it's to help you grow, okay, to sustain yourself. You don't want certainly to go on a downward curve after you get funding you need, but to grow and be resilient. Resilience is very important. You know, we all run into obstacles in the daily life that we live. How do we deal with them as a small business owner? Think entrepreneurially, and I'll talk more about that as we go forward. Number three is applying for financial resources. So I will not only give you some kind of idea of what you want to focus on when you're looking to apply, but also where do you go? We have some very attractive websites, useful websites, I should say, towards the end of the presentation where you can go and get all the detail you need, all the detail you may want to answer your questions, okay? Next. Bueno, son, ya ven enfrente de ustedes en español and then in English, okay? cuatro cosas que son muy importantes para ustedes como emprendedores, como gente que son dueños de negocios, para entender cómo piensan los bancos, prestamistas alternativos, número 2, ¿no? Y número 3, el SBA cuando revisan y ven su solicitud que quieren fondos. Número 1, ¿cómo está su crédito? Aquí la pregunta tiene que ver que ha hecho sus pagos. Si ya sacó dinero en tiempos pasados en forma de crédito, de un préstamo, ¿lo pagó o no? Y aquí número 1, les digo que en crédito, si han tenido problemas, especialmente con COVID, hay que explicárselo a la gente con que quieren conseguir fondos y les dice usted, les dice, mira, mi crédito sufrió porque fue difícil hacer ventas. Ok, la cosa es explicar. Número 2, flujo de efectivo. Voy a darles unos ejemplos de qué es flujo de efectivo. En realidad esto es, piénselo de cómo el dinero, ¿qué es el dinero que entra a su negocio? En forma de ventas, ¿ok? De servicios que vende usted, de productos que vende. Y también es qué son los gastos, qué paga usted y qué queda después de eso. Eso tiene importancia, porque aunque mucha gente piensa ahorita que, mira, yo quiero fondos, pero me los van a dar como beca, yo no tengo que pagarlos en forma de préstamo. Lo que les quiero decir es que deben de entender que muchas veces, aunque piensa usted como alguien que es dueño de un negocio que quiere fondos, que no los va a tener que pagar porque hay cover ahorita. Lean los detalles porque lo que pasa si no cumple con los requisitos de los fondos, se convierte a préstamo y tiene que entender usted su flujo de efectivo para estar preparado si se hace la ayuda a un préstamo. ¿Ok? Número 3 es garantía. Si usted quiere algo, es natural, ¿no? Entonces la persona que le da o le presta algo va a querer algo en cambio. Esta es la garantía. Si usted quiere dinero, ¿qué le va a ofrecer a la gente que le está dinero en cambio? ¿No? Va a ser, mira, yo tengo mi casa, mira, yo tengo mi auto, mira, yo tengo maquinaria. Piénselo bien para estar preparado para entonces ofrecerle aunque sea banco, que sea prestamista alternativo o que sea con el SBA, que es su garantía que lo ofrece usted. Número 4 son las condiciones. Aquí las condiciones son muy claros, que ahorita en COVID ha sido difícil para todo el mundo, ¿no? Pero lo que hay que entender es que las condiciones, la pregunta aquí es cómo se aplican las condiciones de COVID-19, cómo le ha afectado a su negocio, ¿ok? A su mercado. Piénselo y esté preparado para explicarlo o ponerlo por escrito. So what I was saying in English, I'll say it in English now, I was saying it in Spanish, of course, but basically there's 4 things, there are 4 basic things that are a model, if you will, that is taught to any lender, whether it's a bank, an alternative lender, or SBA officers, who many times are former bankers that have gone to work for SBA because they think through the same methodology, if you will, when they're looking at even putting together a grant. Because if you look carefully at a lot of the conditions for the various programs that are out there, it says that it may be converted to a loan, even though it may be a grant at this point. It may be converted to a loan. So wouldn't it be nice that you be prepared to know whether you can handle a loan and how much you can handle? I would argue that it is. So first of all, think about your credit. This is pretty straightforward. Do you have good credit? If not, explain to whatever entity you go to, the bank, alternative lender, SBA, and tell them, you know what? I had some dings in my credit because I went through a difficult period. Maybe my business suffered. Maybe I went through a family issue, a family problem, but I'm working to resolve it. Okay, but overall, you know, my credit is something that is good, or that I'm improving it. This is important you address this, okay? Think about it. What are you going to say? 2 is your cash flow. intimidating for a lot of people. It doesn't have to be. Cash flow simply is the money that you are going to bring into the business from sale of products or services, and the money that will go out. Typically, the cash flow is 6 months or a year, and it is a way to measure monthly what has come into the business in terms of sales, again, services or product, and what have been the monthly expenses. Why is this important? Well, it's important because think about it. If you are out and about and you have a loan request, and I'm wanting to be clear, even if it's a grant that you're looking at, be aware it may be converted to a loan at some point. So in preparation for this, what you want to do is do a projection of your cash flow. Do it for 6 months at minimum, do it for a year preferably, where you project out what products or services you expect to sell on a monthly basis. You know, you're the best person to do this. Don't go pay somebody to do it. I was a banker for many, many years, a commercial lender, and one of the common questions that we always asked any borrower was, did you, if there was a cash flow, we'd say, did you do this or did you pay somebody? And it may look very pretty if you pay somebody to do it, but it'll also be costly. And typically, you know, sometimes people did it themselves or they went and paid somebody to make it look nice. And all that the lender wants to know is, what is your thinking? What's the analysis? How did you analyze? Why are you projecting this amount of sales, you know, in 2 months down the line? Why is it dipping 3 months down the line? Why is it going up? And you're the best person to do that, okay? I'll give you some examples shortly in some other slides. And then 3 is the guarantee. And what I was saying in Spanish is, and it applies Spanish or English, and the idea is it's collateral. So as in any business deal, business situation, the individual, let's say, because we're talking about banks, we're talking about alternative lenders and SBA, they're thinking, if I'm going to invest in you, entrepreneur, in you, small business, what's the risk that's involved here, and what are you willing to provide, right? What are you willing to provide in form of collateral? And typically, as a small business owner, that collateral may be that you have, let's say you have a car that you've paid off, a truck that you've paid off, you have machinery and equipment, you have inventory that you've paid off. And I say paid off because if it has a lien against it, you subtract the amount of the lien from the market value, because your equity is what the lender's interested. What do you really own? That's another discussion. But basically, think of it here as, what are you putting up in exchange for the risk that some entity, the bank, the alternative lender, or SBA, it has in this situation between you and them, in this loan, this credit, or even with a grant. Okay, what's their exposure? Okay, the 4th thing is conditions, and here basically what I suggest you do is you think of the conditions that you're operating under in this very difficult pandemic era that we've been going through. Okay, in other words, what's your market? If you're in a restaurant industry, okay, and obviously if you've been in a restaurant where you have people come into your place of business, sit down and order a meal, you've been affected, right? We know that because for many, many, many months, the state said you cannot allow people to come in. And then it was, you can allow 25%, then you can allow more people in. They need to distance, right? They need to maybe wear a mask depending on what's on that door. You know, what is the proprietor telling you? So the conditions that you want to think about and be prepared to address to whoever it is you're soliciting some kind of help from is, in my business, this is what happened. The good thing is things are getting better now. You know, I was speaking with some colleagues, and I've been out and about today, as my consulting work requires me sometimes to travel. I haven't because of COVID, right, the past year, but now I'm in New Mexico, in central New Mexico, and I'll be headed down to southern New Mexico later today, actually, to see some clients that I've got. And I know the conditions for them will be as difficult as they've been anywhere in the state, but we're trying to see, right? What are the conditions impacting them? Okay, and you need to reference this for yourself too. 4 things: credit, cash flow, collateral, conditions. Think of the 4 C's. Good way to remember it, okay? Next, Leslie, thank you. Okay, so I said there was a slide on cash flow, and I want you to think about it. This is pre-startup estimate, okay? Before you do that cash flow. Pre-startup, especially here, I'm focusing on entrepreneurs that aren't up and running yet, that are looking to start their business. This may be you, okay? I'll come back to it in English. I'm going to go to Spanish right now. Esto es estimación antes de iniciar. Entonces, lo que estaba diciendo en inglés es, hay que entender, ok, cuando usted prepara, como le estaba diciendo, un proyecto de flujo de efectivo, no tiene que ser algo que sea muy técnico. Con una página, ok, una página de papel, puede poner acá arriba la página. Mira, antes de empezar, tengo una categoría que se dice estimación antes de iniciar. Y abajo de esa línea pone, mira, ¿tengo dinero disponible? ¿Qué es? Mira, ¿tengo un préstamo? ¿Qué es? ¿Tengo línea de crédito? ¿Qué es? ¿Y qué es la tasa de interés? ¿Tengo otro dinero? ¿Posible que te prestó dinero alguien entre tu familia? Hay que poner eso. ¿Por qué? Porque hay que saber dónde va a entrar dinero afuera de su negocio para ayudarle a sostenerse en el futuro, okay, cuando está trabajando. So here what I was saying in Spanish is, think of this as prior, the piece of paper, right? I'm just saying it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can do an Excel spreadsheet if you want, certainly, but with a pen and pencil, I would suggest that minimum what you do is you label this estimation or pre-startup expense, especially if you're an entrepreneur just starting your business, and then identify the next heading as cash on hand, right? The thinking being that you, right, are putting something into this business if it's a startup. What are you putting in? Otherwise, it becomes, right, you want to borrow or you want somebody to fund out 100% of it, and it's just not logical to the folks that are looking to invest in your business. Okay, they want to know what stake you have in this business. Okay, and so maybe the next line after you've addressed that, right? I get the square so you can see it visually, would be, have you already taken out a loan? If so, put down the amount, right? A little bit about the terms, how much interest rate, what about our monthly payments? You know, you put that here. It's a line of credit, very similar to a loan. A line of credit, I typically tell people, think of it like a Master or these days, a Visa credit card, in that you have a loan limit, but you don't pay interest unless you actually use it. And you pay interest only on the amount you use. So put that here. It's another way to identify what you have on hand. Lastly, it's the other money that you may have, other cash, okay? So anybody who's in the process of looking at your request for more funds, even if you've got some funds, they want to know what your current status is. You know, have you borrowed? You know, do you have other money? Have somebody lent you money? You know, so that they can make a very simple analysis of how they can help you. Okay, so this is before you start. Okay, before you start your cash flow, before you start your business, hopefully. Okay, next. Okay, so just like you do the what money do you have before you start your business, right? You're going to do that up if you're doing it with a pen and pencil or an Excel. You're going to do that first. Then below that, you're going to identify cash paid out. Okay, and here it's, have I had purchases already for merchandise? Maybe you bought some inventory. Well, how much? Maybe you bought a piece of machinery. Maybe if you're imprinting a printer or a copier, you know, maybe you're a trucker, a truck, whatever it is, put this down so that, again, folks that are looking at your request for funding know what you've already put into the business, okay, and what you've spent. I use cleaning supplies because today, we're still in this COVID pandemic, and maybe you are in the process of, keeping some supplies on hand. Maybe you're selling them or you just have them available for your clients. It's a good idea, okay? It keeps all of us safe. Maybe you've spent some money on rent, a deposit for first month's and last month's rent. Maybe a cell phone. These are all valid cash paid out type investments you've made into yourself, into your business, that you can put together very briefly, okay, so that wherever you go and you're dealing with, right over here in like a category, this individual or this institution you go to can see what you put into it, okay? En español les quería decir que aparte de lo que tiene a mano, esto también se pone antes de proyectar algo. Es qué es el efectivo que ha pagado en forma de mercancía. Es posible que ya compró una maquinaria, una truck, un automóvil, vamos a decir, para usar en el negocio. Si tiene suministros de limpieza que ha gastado, si ha ponido depósitos de renta, que fue, teléfono en total. Acuérdense, es algo para ver, enseñar en este lado, aquí en este lado, una categoría para que la persona pueda ver que usted analizó lo que ha hecho para su negocio, ¿ok? Ok, next. Okay, so back to English and then Spanish. Here is that cash flow I've been talking about. And because of the limited space on this slide, I did it for 6 months. But you can do it for a year. You can go down, you can go to SBA, actually, sba.gov, and download a template. And as you complete it, it actually downloads the data for you into so you can customize your own cash flow projection, if you will. And I call this a projection because especially if you're a small business startup, right, you're projecting out. Let's assume that it's not January, February, March, April, May, June, but since we're in June right now, you are looking to start, let's say, I don't know when, but maybe you're starting in July. If you're looking to start in July, you would change that from January to July, from February to the next month, right? August, okay, then what would come next, right? September, October, November, December, 6 months. And then you put on the left-hand side your cash on hand. What do you have on hand as you go forward starting your business? As we said, maybe it's in July, okay? And then below that, it's what do you expect? Do you see where it says cash receipts and below that cash sales? That's you projecting out by month what kind of sales you expect to have. If you have planned to sell receivables, I work with folks that do both. Sometimes people don't have receivables. It's all cash sales. They want it, they accept the cash. I worked with someone recently. I think I was working with him on Friday, and he's got, because all the technology on his, right, on his computer, what he has on his cell phone, he's got the ability to accept a payment from a Visa credit card, okay? And it's point of sale, right? And he gets that money immediately. But maybe you are in the type of business. I also work with someone whom I'm going to be seeing this month that sells farming equipment. They sell farming equipment to farmers. Very important type of business. But because the farming equipment, and in this case, it's pumps, they're large items that are quite expensive. They're paid, it may be 45 days, they start receiving some of the funding for the sale. And then the next month they receive more. So it's actually an account receivable from having sold that pump to a farmer. Okay, but you want to project out. The idea is what's coming in. what's coming in. Below that is loan or line of credit, other cash. And what we're looking at there is what do you have that is going to be used? If you already have some funding, then you put that in there. If you don't have some funding, then you don't put anything there. Okay, in Spanish, briefly, esto es el flujo de efectivo y lo proyecté a 6 meses. Usted puede cambiar los meses. No, yo puse enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo y junio. Usted puede poner los meses que le aplica a usted. Es posible que usted va a empezar en julio. Entonces pone julio, ¿ok? Y luego ¿qué? Julio, agosto, septiembre y así los 6 meses, ¿ok? Efectivo en caja es que tiene usted ahorita antes de empezar un negocio en el banco, en la cuenta de cheques, ¿ok? Que puede utilizar para empezar su negocio. Es importante, ¿ok? Porque si va a empezar algo, no es buena idea depender completamente con fondos de un banco o del SBA, ¿no? Usted quiere decir, mira, yo también tengo inversión en mi negocio. Esto es lo que he invertido, ¿ok? Y luego lo que sigue, los 4 puntos que siguen, número 1 es ventas en efectivo. ¿Qué proyecta usted de ventas? ¿Ok? Acuérdense, julio, agosto, si va a empezar en julio, ¿qué son las ventas? Colecciones de cuentas por cobrar. Si va a vender algo en forma de crédito, les va a dar crédito a sus clientes, aquí pone cuándo van a entrar. Por eso es flujo de efectivo. ¿Cuándo entra el colección de los fondos de la venta, ¿no? Y luego lo que sigue es, si ya tiene un préstamo o línea de crédito, yo trabajo con muchos negocios que ya tienen una línea o un préstamo que están pagando, pero no es suficiente. Pero es algo que quiere hacer usted completamente claro con gente que le va a hacer más ayuda con fondos. ¿Qué es lo que tiene ahorita de préstamo o línea de crédito? Entonces, sí tengo poquita ayuda, pero no es suficiente, ¿no? Aquí lo pone. Y luego hace el total, ¿ok? Entonces, yo pienso de flujo de efectivo como la sangre es para el cuerpo, el flujo de efectivo es para el negocio. Sin flujo de efectivo y sin saber el flujo de efectivo de nuestro negocio, ¿cómo vamos a sostener el negocio? No es posible, estamos tirando a ver si ganamos algo, ¿no? Pero no se sabe. Entonces, piénselo bien. Y aquí pueden conseguir ayuda con las oficinas del SBDC. Si no entiende usted muy bien, vaya con ellos que les ayuden. No les cobran, para eso están ahí, para asistir. ¿Ok? Next. Okay, so I'll do this in Spanish and then in English. As you can see, this is just transitioning to the next theme that I wanted to talk about, and that's do not love what you are, but what you can become. And here the important thing is many times, this is not a business planning workshop, but in business planning, it is probably well, typically it's the first section of any business plan where you're asked, what's your vision? What's your mission? Very important. Because it's you that's driving this whole effort to be successful. And so you want to then think about this, you know, you want to think of it as my vision, the business vision. Where do I want to go? Maybe I work with several daycare centers. In fact, I'm looking at one right now. I'm consulting with them, getting additional funds to start up a second daycare center. And so I'll be consulting with them. I'll give them some direction on what they need to do to get funding and to get started. But basically, here the idea again is where do they want to be in a year? So I'll have them do a projection, and then I'll revise it and edit and say, okay, tell me what you were thinking here. Okay, and then we go forward. Again, this is what an SBDC advisor can do to help you. You know, you do the work, but they're there to assist and guide you through it. Okay. That's what it is. En español, aquí tengo no ames lo que eres, sino lo que puedes llegar a ser. Lo que estaba explicando en inglés es que es muy típico, aunque este no es clase para enseñarles cómo escribir un plan de negocio, es típico en un plan de negocio que la primer categoría les pregunta, ¿qué es tu visión? ¿Ok? ¿A qué le estás tirando? Si quieres empezar, como estoy ayudándole a alguien que quiere abrir un centro de cuidar niños, en verdad es el segundo que quieren abrir aquí en Nuevo México. Y lo que me están preguntando es, oye, ¿cuánto dinero me va a ayudar? ¿O dónde puedo conseguir dinero? Y las respuestas que le doy a ellos, bueno, es para qué vas a hacer. Porque dinero, no vas a tener dinero para el edificio o no. Vas a tener dinero para operar, ¿sí? No, hay que pagar los sueldos de los empleados, los depósitos. Entonces, todo eso pertenece. Entonces, es un plan. ¿Qué es tu visión? Para en un año puedes revisar dónde llegué o no llegué. ¿Ok? So, y puse el nombre de Miguel de Cervantes porque esto es el dicho, ¿no? Okay, next. Okay, so we'll go with English. So I was in Spanish there now, and let's see if we can do this. As you can see, there's basically the second theme of this presentation is Roman numeral 2, business sustainability. And I say this because in the conversation that you have with any lender, again, banks, alternative lenders, even the SBA, they want to know, how are you going to sustain this? In other words, you need this funding help, okay, but what's it going to do? How is it going to help you? And how do you plan, where do you plan to be in a year from now, in 2 years from now? So, and that's verified in a lot of different ways. It may be, hey, if you go online and look at some of the requirements, sometimes they say, let me see some historical financial statements if you're an existing business, right? Because that's an indicator of what's going to happen in the future, right? It's a way to analyze those tax returns for maybe in 2020 and 2019. And typically they'll also ask you for what's called an interim profit and loss statement, because we are in 2021, we're almost halfway through, right? And here the idea is they want to see how you've performed in 2021, given that we're starting to come out of the pandemic. Okay, sustainability. Okay, so just briefly, the 5 things are: you don't need a whole new idea to start a business. You need to be clear on your idea. Okay, you need to understand why you think you can run that. If you have experience, you want to definitely, experience or trainings, you want to share that and be clear about them, with the folks that you want help from. You don't need a lot of money to start a business. And I think a lot of folks get really confused here. What that means is be clear on your idea, and maybe you can start small. Entrepreneurs are taught in today's thinking to start small to see if your product or service will sell. Then as it begins to sell, okay, then you know you have something viable. That's what's meant here is, and obviously if you're an existing business, you may need money already now. Okay, but you don't necessarily need it to start. It varies, okay, but overall, it isn't something that's a must for everybody. Use what you already know from your experience or training. And here, go into something with your experience. It's much more convincing to someone putting money into your idea that you know what you're talking about. You've done it. I've reviewed many a business plan as a banker, and then as an independent consultant. Even when I was teaching at the community college as well as several universities, business plans would be given to me, and folks would say, well, this is my idea. I said, this is a great idea. But they would say, I'm going to make a lot of money. And I would say, oh, well, tell me what you've done. What makes you think you're going to be so successful? Not in a condescending way, but actually saying, do you have any experience? Do you have any training? It matters. 4 is you don't need a 20-page business plan. A lender finds this really unnecessary. What you want to do is write something that is in the form of an outline, except when you do your cash flow projections, be clear about the numbers and be prepared to explain how you arrived at them. Don't just give somebody a bunch of numbers. They need to be in the form of a narrative. You know, what this means from month to month. Does it go up? This is why. Expenses, they go up. This is why. You know, and so that's the thinking there. And the last one is you don't need to buy or rent a building. I think many times as a lender, I used to run into this where somebody say, you know, I need 100 grand or I need 200,000 and half of that is for the building I'm buying. And I would just kind of go, whoa, really? You want us as the bank to fund half of your loan request in something that's not going to actively generate money for you, and it's a new type of idea? Always think this through. You're much better off entering into a good lease, okay? Maybe 3 years, maybe 5 years. Read it carefully, get some help if you don't understand it. And then you can go ahead and plan for, you know, buying a building later. Lenders want to see the money used for you to operate, not to have it sit in the purchase of a building, okay? And so this is very important. And so en español, la idea es que no necesita una idea completa nueva para empezar su negocio. Ok. Aquí hay muchos negocios. Yo trabajo con gente que tienen sus restaurantes, pero hay muchos restaurantes ya que existen, ¿no? O tienen un centro de cuidar niños. Ya sabemos que hay otros centros de cuidar niños, pero ellos tienen su experiencia en eso, ¿no? Y es como digo, número 3, use lo que ya sabe de su experiencia o entrenamiento. ¿Okay? Antes de abrir un negocio, ¿qué sabe usted de este negocio? ¿Ok? Hay que estar claro. Y el enfoque no debe ser en necesitar mucho dinero, es estar claro en su idea. No necesita un plan de 20 páginas. Cuando escribe su plan, mucha gente le dice, ay, bueno, ¿preparaste un plan de negocio? No. Entonces, antes de llegar a ese punto, usted debe de preparar su plan, pero hágalo en unas 3 páginas. Puede poner sus ideas y eso le da a la persona que le está ayudando confianza que usted ya hizo un trabajo y entiende lo que quiere hacer. Número 5, entonces, no necesita comprar o rentar un edificio para empezar. Les quiero decir, muchas veces gente que viene a hablar conmigo me dicen, ¿sabes qué? Quiero un edificio. Y les digo, bueno, pues si quieres edificio, piénsalo de esta forma. Ya cuando tienes un negocio que tiene buen éxito en 3 o 4 años, ok, entonces piensa de comprar el edificio. Ahorita la idea es tener, ¿qué? Sostenibilidad. Entonces, piensa en cómo voy a empezar y crecer mi negocio y en eso me voy a dedicar con los fondos. Después, con tener buen éxito, pienso de comprar. Okay, next. Okay, so here we're talking about growth, because what I would like to have you see, and I think most folks that are in providing funds to help you sustain, you know, clearly the startup, if you're a startup, to grow if you're an existing business, either one. Folks want you to be successful, to sustain your business, but also to grow it. And so here are three areas. I'll speak in English and then I'll go to Spanish. To grow, you need to know where you're at. Okay, so assess whether you are well prepared to be an entrepreneur. Some folks, especially with startups, have not experienced the challenges of, you know, going through periods where you can't take money out for yourself, you know, at the end of the week or at the end of 2 weeks because you have to pay your employees, right? They come first. And that's really true. Maybe folks that want to work just 8 to 5, as they start, it's not an 8 to 5 job. You'll be working late evenings. Maybe you'll be doing your accounting work, maybe some marketing research. You'll be working weekends. So assess whether you are well prepared to do this. Number 2, what are your attitudes towards money and prosperity? So in other words, what I'm getting at here is, as an entrepreneur, You need to manage that money, not let it manage you. Okay, so you may see something you'd like to have. I know in entrepreneurial thinking, I taught entrepreneurship for over 20 years, and I still do, give many a workshop. I saw a lot of good material, both in writings and talked to many entrepreneurs. And it's interesting because those that are successful view money in a very clear way. And that's that, for example, they don't look at buying a brand new car to show it off to their friends when they're starting a business. They go out and look for a good used vehicle. Okay. They don't go out and splurge on things that are unnecessary. They're very clear on what is a need, okay, and what is a want. All right. And it's going to help you be successful and grow your business because that's what we want, right? So what are your attitudes? Okay. Maybe you want to take a class at a college just to do some more thinking about that when we're talking about attitudes as an entrepreneur. And get familiar with the mindset. The mindset again is what I've been talking about. How do you view money? Does it control you or do you control it? Because you'll have to cut down as an entrepreneur. You don't spend money where it doesn't need to be spent. En español, entonces, aquí la idea es que queremos crecer nuestro negocio, ¿no? Es algo muy importante. Son 3 puntos que quiero hacer. Evaluar si está bien preparado para ser emprendedor. En otras palabras, aquí la idea es, posible ha tomado esta clase, esta es buena ayuda, ¿no? Pero aparte de eso, ¿qué forma de ayuda tienes? Pues tienes ayuda con los SBDC, las oficinas en todo el estado, ¿ok? También hay que pensar si ya tengo tiempo para dedicarme a mi negocio o tengo otros asuntos que estoy trabajando, ¿ok? Número 2 es qué son tus actitudes a la prosperidad y con dinero. Les digo esto porque muchas veces gente piensa, ¿sabe qué? Ya tengo mi negocio. Voy a comprarme lo que querría para que vea bien la gente que tengo buen éxito. Y el problema es, acuérdense, el flujo de efectivo. Se le va el dinero gastándolo en algo que no es necesario. Si necesita una troca o un camión o vamos a decir un auto para su negocio, busque algo usado que le ayude, que es buen auto, ¿no? Pero no tiene que gastar dinero en algo nuevo. Esa actitud que tenemos como emprendedores. Y número 3 es hay que familiarse con la mentalidad de ser emprendedor. Aquí hay mucha ayuda en el internet. Puede y ponga esas palabras. Mindset, entrepreneurial mindset, la mentalidad de emprendedor, ¿ok? Y va a ver que hay mucha ayuda en YouTube que pueden leer, que les ayude a entender qué mentalidad les va a ayudar a tener buen éxito, ¿ok? Queremos que tenga buen éxito y que crezca su negocio, ¿ok? Next. Okay, in breve, or in brief, here the idea is don't give up. Okay, as Thomas Edison said, the surest way to succeed is always to try one more time. Okay, don't quit. Okay, many times in my experience, in many years of doing this, that's the difference. Okay, you may pick up a boost in your business because now people begin to know who you are and what you're selling, and they start coming to you that they didn't know before. Okay, so just when things look bad, a window opens and things take off for you. En español, aquí lo que está diciendo es que no se vencen. Hay que seguir dándole para triunfar. Es el intento de tratar una vez más. Porque es posible que, como dije en inglés, va a abrir una ventana porque ahora sí gente entiende y conoce su negocio, su marca, y empiece a comprarle de usted, ¿no? Next. Okay, here's an important part, and so I want to make sure that I cover here, and the idea is here is to let you know what's out there, okay? The third theme. Banks, credit unions, alternative lenders and SBA, and we'll have in the next couple of slides, you'll see we'll have a website for you to go to. Here, I'm just introducing what I'm going to be talking about. Voy a hablar de bancos, cooperativas de crédito, prestamistas, alternativos y SBA y cómo les pueden ayudar, okay? Next. Okay, so the first area is banks and some credit unions in New Mexico. I won't talk about the Paycheck Protections Program. Rather, let me focus on banks and credit unions on this slide because the Paycheck Protection Program came to an end, okay? The main thing there right now that I wanted to point out is if you were a participant in this, please, by all means, go and check what the requisites are and whether you're complying with the Paycheck Protections Program because it can be converted to a loan. And you don't want to be surprised if it's converted to a loan. You know, and maybe you were okay with it converted to a loan. If so, do some projections like I showed you with the cash flow projection and prepare yourself with those 4 things I talked about. The credit, right? Collateral. I talked about guarantee and conditions so you can get good rate for yourself, okay? But banks and credit unions are actively participating in all these programs. If you have not gone and introduced yourself to your lender, your bank and your lender, do so. It's your advantage. Don't wait till you need something. I always tell folks, I used to tell my students this, and a firm believer as a former banker, that, you know, if I knew someone that came in and said, hey, Dr. Lozano, and before I was a Dr. Lozano, I was Mr. Lozano, right? It was, you know, this is what I'm thinking of doing, or this is what I need, you know, was much easier to handle once I knew who they were because I didn't have to start fresh getting to know the character aspect in terms of who I was dealing with, okay? So very important. Next. Next. Okay, the alternative community lenders. I'm sorry, go back to one. Aquí lo que estaba diciendo, I forgot to do it in Spanish. I'll do it briefly. Lo que estaba diciendo es los bancos y algunas uniones de crédito en Nuevo México ofrecen, es casi todos participan en una forma de COVID-19 y la ayuda, pero vayan con ellos que entienden que es usted. No se siente que no le van a ayudar. Preséntese con confianza y diles, yo tengo una cuenta con ustedes. Por favor, ayúdenme a entender qué tienen. ¿Tienen alguien que hable español? Por favor, ¿quién es? Porque ahorita no existe el Paycheck Protection Program. Esa terminó. Pero tiene requisitos que tiene que entender usted. Okay? Next. Okay, so in English, alternative community lenders. Okay, banks are out there. But alternative community lenders are also, you can Google that and you'll find out who the active ones are in New Mexico. And they're there because they have a little bit more flexibility than your traditional banks. But some of the tools that they may be able to offer you, okay, depending who they are, as you can see, we have COVID loan or line of credit. And I've worked with several businesses in New Mexico where they've been able to get a COVID loan at a very attractive rate, 3.75. My gosh, that's very low. If you go to the Wall Street Journal and you look at the prime rate, according to the Wall Street Journal, which is the best rate offered by banks in the United States, it's 3.25. So you can get 3.75. My gosh, that's a preferable rate to a real strong business in non-COVID times. So look into it. The second thing is Sba Micro Loans. Those are loans that are less than $50,000. And the things I've been talking about here in the cash flow projection and the 4 things important for you to understand are important. The 504 program is if you're ready for a building or to refinance a building, ask them about this. En español, pues, los prestamistas alternativos existen y es posible que tienen estos productos. Vayan y pregúntenles si tienen préstamo o línea de crédito. Si tienen préstamos del SBA, que son préstamos micro, en todas palabras, que son menos de $50,000. Y si quiere comprar un edificio bastante grande, es SBA 504, ¿ok? 504. Pero hay que entender, vayan a Google y busquen a ver quiénes son los prestamistas alternativos en Nuevo México. Next. Okay, Leslie, we're getting there toward the end, but here we want to go to the sba.gov. I have it in English and Spanish. No worries. You can, if you're an English speaker, you can find it in English. We're just showing it in Spanish here so we can share because it's a bilingual workshop, right? We want those folks to understand that it's there. If you click options, you should be able to see some things there. Yeah, there you go, Leslie. Thank you. Go down. So here are some of the programs that are there online at the SBA. Basically, the PP, the Payroll Protection Program, they basically explain to you at this point, they say it's closed, which it is, but be aware that that can be converted to a loan. If you have one of those, I suggest you go in there and read what those conditions are, so you're not caught off guard. EIDL are the disaster loan programs that are out there. And clearly, we're in somewhat of a disaster with COVID. So read about what they are. These are loans. These are not grants, okay? And then you'll find out. En español, aquí es para decirles que estas son las opciones. Hay, el PPP ya se terminó, pero EIDL son préstamos para operar. Lean qué son, okay? Leslie, next. Next. And there you see the, in English, www.sba.gov. Very easy to go there and read in English, okay? Aquí el último en español y luego inglés. Next one, yeah, right here. That's a good place, Leslie. Es para decirles que existen en español con SBA, que les pueden explicar la asistencia de si tiene usted un restaurante, que puede conseguir. Es el fondo de rehabilitación de restaurantes. Si un restaurante, ¿qué forma de ayuda puede conseguir con ellos? Aquí tiene todos los detalles, ¿ok? Next. Y aquí nomás un poquito los detalles en español and in English, program details on the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. You can go to that www.sba.gov. We'll stay at this slide, but they will also give you program information on this, which is active, a lot of funds. If you are in any type of business that's selling food, go read about it. It's very good information for you, and maybe you can access that. Thank you very much. Few references there.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Lozano. You always give such great information, and I want to remind everybody that if you need any more information, you can visit our website at nmsbdc.org, and we can get you connected with a local business counselor for no-cost confidential counseling. We can help you write a business plan, form your business, identifying funding options, develop marketing programs, and create projections at any time. I want to thank Dr. Lozano for today, and I want to remind you that we have lots of trainings available for anyone that needs more assistance. So again, thanks everyone, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.
Adios.
Bye.